Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at game number 3 in our 20 from 1984 series, and this is the first in a long series of vertically scrolling shoot-'em-ups. This was an absolute smash classic by Capcom. This is the very first in that series, and it is called 1942, and it takes place during World War II, and you are an American flying the fighter plane, the P-38 Lightning, over the Pacific Theater to destroy the Japanese fleet. And there are various locations as you progress through the game, and there are a total of 33 stages. You have a fire button, and you have a loop button, and this allows you to do a loop, and during the loop you are invincible. And so when enemies are just about to shoot you or ram into you, perform a loop, and you'll have a stock of them at the bottom right, and they're indicated by the letter R for some reason. Maybe that's like revolution or something, I don't know. But this was such an instant classic. I saw this at a 7-Eleven for the first time. It was not the 7-Eleven within a mile from my house. I went to meet a friend from school at the 7-Eleven that had this. This was seen in Romstar cabinets and Williams cabinets, but it was created by Capcom. And yeah, it was probably their first actual smash hit, at least in the US. It's really challenging. It's still very playable, and we'll go ahead and get started. It's a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up, and you have double shots with your regular shot, and you can get various power-ups via the word POW, which would become a major staple in Capcom games. You get double the firepower. You'll get 4 shots at once, or you'll make a smart bomb and kill all the enemies at once, and you get the power-ups from the red formation of enemies. And here's the first one, and there's the double firepower. Never stop shooting in this game, and on occasion you will get big planes that will need to take a whole bunch of shots to bring down. And you want to fly far enough so that you reach another battleship that you will land on. And then you'll get a breather, and you'll get points for the percentage of enemies that you shot. Yeah, do not forget that you have the loops. Ah, crap, I could have used one there. But sometimes they'll put you... if you died right around a formation of red enemies, you have to shoot them all to get the power, or the POW symbol. Then they'll put you right back at that formation, and you can destroy them again to get your power-up back, because you will lose all power-ups when you die. You can also get option fighters, and the option fighters will be at your side, which would also be a staple of many shoot-'em-ups. This set a lot of standards. If you get 90% or more of the enemies shot down, then you'll get 10,000 points of a bonus, which is very nice. You get an extra life at 20,000 points, and after that I'm not entirely sure. You might get one at like 80,000 or something, and then other ones too. There will be some smaller mini-boss type of planes that take a number of shots to bring down. And there are the big ones that we've already seen. I missed the last one, so I couldn't get the power-up that it drops. There's also a smart bomb. You can destroy all enemies on the screen with the smart bomb. from some of the POW symbols that you collect. There's one that will give you an extra loop, and there are some enemies that will grant you a Yashichi, and this would also become a staple in Capcom games. Actually, I think it was seen before in a Capcom shooter called Vulgus, which didn't really get much notice in the US. There was the Smart Bomb. But the Yashichi can be dropped by certain green enemies that behave kind of weird. And that Yashichi is 5,000 points. It generally did various different helpful things in other Capcom games. I think in Vulgus it was like an enemy, but it's almost always helpful or worth a lot of points. Yeah, I didn't get 90% that time, so I got less than 10,000. There are a total of 33 stages. Even though the game basically says there's 32, there's an extra stage after you complete 32. And there's no way I'm good enough to last long enough to get to the end. I can't give a whole lot of tips, but other than don't stop firing, and don't forget that you have loops, and you can get more from various POW symbols. And there are my option fighters. And yeah, option fighters would be a staple in a number of shoot 'em ups. And you can lose the option fighters by getting them shot or rammed into by the enemies. And yeah, you can get an extra life at 80,000 too. I got better and better, oops, I lost one, at shoot 'em ups over the years. So I had a pretty darn good game this time. That power-up gave me an extra loop, whoops, I believe. Yeah, that's kind of nice that they put you right back with the with those red fighters, so I can get another power-up, and I got my option fighters back. I've always called them option fighters because in Gradius they called it an option. Your extra fighters, or your side cannons that shot when you shot. So I've always called them option fighters. I'm sure each game has a different name for them. And now we go to what's called a percent and point up stage. Now I've got to admit I'm not entirely sure what the hell that means, but one thing I do know is that the enemies aren't firing at you, which is kind of cool. And from what I've heard, one of the POW symbols that you can collect might keep the enemies from firing at you for a short while. So definitely keep that in mind, that you get this power at the beginning of the percent and point up, or whatever it was called, stage. Because it doesn't seem to give you any extra points for the percentage that you usually do at the end of a stage. One other thing, oh, there's the guy. He kind of flies a little weird, but he's gonna fly off the screen if you take too long. Whoops. Ah, damn it. So you'll want to shoot him as soon as you can, and when you shoot him, he spins around in the air and he drops a Yashichi, and that gives you 5,000 points. One other thing I want to say is do not stay at the bottom all the time, because enemies, the big ships, or the big planes that take a lot of shots to bring down, will approach you from behind. So note that you can fly probably up to about 85 or 90% of the playfield upwards. But don't fly too high up and don't fly too high down, or too low towards the bottom of the screen. And there I got another 90-something% bonus, which is nice. Something that I didn't mention yet is maybe somewhere around every 8th stage that you get to, you will face a boss, and we will see that later. And that was also a kind of newish introduction to shoot 'em ups. Well, maybe not. Now, the first instance of a boss in a shooter type of game that I can think of is Astro Fighter, which was 1979 by Data East. Oops. Yeah, I saw this at all the arcades, but the first place I saw it was 7-Eleven. That was over towards where my friend used to live. Visit him on weekends, and had to bike pretty darn far to get there. But we'd meet up at that 7-Eleven. Yeah, don't forget that you have those loops. And crap. Don't stay too far back because of those big planes that like to come up from behind. But yeah, note the... Whoa, that was close. Note the different colors of the POW symbols. That'll tell you... damn it. That'll tell you which type of power-up you're going to get. The white ones with the red backdrop is a smart bomb. The brown one with, I think, orange trim gives you the option fighters, and I think it's maybe gray lettering with a black background on the POW gives you double firepower, and then there's a red one that gives you 1,000 points, I think. Or no, maybe it gives you an extra loop, I can't remember for sure. And then there's another one that might give you temporary cease-fire from the small planes. And note that the small planes, there's different behaving ones. Some of them will just come straight down, maybe fire a shot. And the red ones have different patterns later on in the game. Then there's other planes that will loop behind you and come back up, and those are particularly dangerous. And then there's ones that come from the sides all of a sudden and fire shots. Those are particularly tough to deal with. That might be the power-up that keeps enemies from shooting at you for a while. Ah, damn it. It doesn't last forever. They'll eventually shoot at you. You don't get extra bonus points after a game's over. Just shows you some stats. Kind of like Galaga. And now you gotta put in your initials. And you gotta put in, I think, like 8. Yeah, you gotta put in 8 initials. I'm just gonna put in my first name. Well, that's 1942, the first game in a long series, and you can continue from the stage, I think at the start of the stage where you left off. But there's various different names for the stages, or at least a group of 4 stages, and there are various, I think, battle sites from World War II. It's kind of funny that the Japanese created this game, and the protagonist of the game is an American, and the enemy are the Japanese. And here is that boss fight I think all the boss planes are like this. I put on invincibility so I could beat him easily. But that's like every 8th stage or so you'll face a boss. The large planes, not the boss planes, but the large mini-boss planes, give you a continuing increasing bonus the more that you beat in a row. And here is the ending, or almost ending. See, that tells you that there is actually one more stage than just 32. And we land and then we take off again. And now it says last stage. Okinawa is the last stage. And there's nothing really special about it. Note that the carrier or a battleship says 88 on it. Capcom created a game called Area 88, also known as UN Squadron. That was several years after 1942. And here is the ending to 1942. We give up. Special bonus 10 million frickin' points. Wow. Game over. Presented by Capcom. P.S. Hope our next game. What? Good old English. But once you put in your name, then it'll say you can continue. But if you choose to quote-unquote continue, you'll just start a new game with your score reverted to 0. But that was the ending of 1942. The game, not the year. But this was the first in a long series of games, a long franchise for Capcom. And yeah, the names of the stages, or groups of 4 stages: Midway, Marshall, Attu, Rabaul, Leyte, Saipan, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. But that was 1942, created by Capcom in 1984. Well, this is Crazy Clown Race, and thanks for watching 1942, game number 3 in our 20 from 1984 series. Hope to see you soon with game number 2. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.